Sam Hauser became extension eligible on July 9th, but now sitting here on July 17th, nothing has happened just yet. So when will the Boston Celtics finally offer this really reliable three-point shooter the extension that he deserves? Well, we're going to break that down here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Ali Barefoot, and I want to ask you guys one quick favor here. Give love to Sam Hauser. Why? Because the man made 197 three-pointers this season for the Boston Celtics to help them win the NBA championship. So I want this video to get 197 likes or more to give respect to the most lethal three-point shooter, catch and shoot for the Boston Celtics. Go on ahead and like this video. The Boston Celtics are obviously making several moves here, but all internally. They have yet to move outside of the Boston Celtics to bring anybody in or send anybody out. They've extended Jayson Tatum, necessary, made him the highest paid player in the NBA, not to mention. They extended Derrick White, necessary, $125.9 million. They re-signed Luke Kornet, they re-signed Neemias Queta, and they re-signed Xavier Tillman, while Kristaps Porzingis is reportedly not set to return to the NBA until December. So these three players were a top priority because of Kristaps Porzingis' absence for at least the first 2 months in the NBA. But Hauser is now eligible for a 4-year, $78 million contract extension. Sam Hauser making roughly $2 million this year and next year when they did pick up his team option. But that leaves Sam Hauser making about $20 million a year when it's all said and done. That's a lot for Sam Hauser. And that is if they take him on the full extension that he is worth and that he is eligible for right now. And they've already made several very expensive moves, extending Jrue Holiday, Derrick White, Jayson Tatum. Jaylen Brown's extension kicks in this year. They haven't done anything with Kristaps Porzingis just yet, but obviously Sam Hauser is definitely on their radar. But you got to think there is a little bit of time here. Remember back when? They didn't even extend Peyton Pritchard until right before the NBA season started. And when that extension happened, it was right after preseason. And I'm thinking, they just extended Peyton Pritchard for that much money? I don't know if I see that. And then, boom, he elevates his play. He becomes much more than a catch-and-shoot point guard. He really starts to facilitate, and he learned what his role was on the Boston Celtics. So they don't have to extend Sam Hauser just yet, but he is now officially eligible, and I haven't seen any new reports that the Boston Celtics are willing to do this since right after they won the NBA Finals when Brad Stevens said they would like to keep Sam Hauser around. But newsflash, there's a lot of stuff going on with the franchise. It is currently for sale. Nothing has happened since they have extended Derrick White because that's when Rick Grusbeck ended up putting the Boston Celtics up for sale. So what would it now take to extend Sam Hauser? Because this is getting really tight here. Everybody in Chat Sports office has been asking me, Smitty, how is Brad Stevens able to do this? How do they keep extending these guys that just won an NBA Finals for this much money and they're not facing any penalties? Well, that's not 100% true. So let me break down what The Athletic had to say here on Sam Hauser, saying if you're talking about Hauser, you're talking about a $300 and something million in a single year luxury taxes, and then potentially that carrying forward another year. So barring an ownership group coming in and saying, listen, if we're going to pay $5 billion for a team anyway, what difference does it make if we pay $6 billion? It's hard to see them continuing on and paying all of that. And it would certainly be unprecedented for anybody in league history, not just in raw dollars, but also in what probably matters most is luxury tax as a percent of the salary cap. Well, you got to think, the Celtics were already over the tax apron this year. Rick Grusbeck footed a $41.4 million tax bill this season. Why? Because winning is expensive. It is going to take a lot for the Boston Celtics to continuously keep this roster going with all the talent that they have on it. They're going to be paying the penalties for quite some time, especially this upcoming year. Boston is already deep in the luxury tax again, and they haven't even started the NBA season because of all the extensions and because of all the promising salaries that they have already given to the Boston Celtics players, which is 100% deserving, but this is business. And when you take a look at this graphic, it really puts into picture where the Celtics payroll in luxury tax bill will be year over year. I mean, this thing goes well into 2025 and in 2026. You can see them with that red line being that luxury tax threshold. They're constantly going over it. So no, Brad Stevens is not technically doing this without any penalties. There's going to be some money you've got to give out. And now with Sam Hauser not being the top 5, 6, maybe the 7th player on the Boston Celtics here, it may not be the top priority right now with Wyc Grousbeck, who just put the Boston Celtics up for sale. They might put Hauser on the back burner just for another month or two. Doesn't mean he's not working. He told interviewers that he's actually taking about a 2-week break because he just needs to take a break from basketball, naturally. But he's still working. He's still trying to expand his game. But because the Celtics are for sale, it may mean that Sam Hauser now has fallen a little bit on that priority list. But it doesn't mean that we're not thinking about him and that we don't want him back. If you want the Boston Celtics to extend Sam Hauser soon, all you guys got to do is go ahead and like this video for me. Like I said, we're trying to get 197 likes on this video. Why? Because that's how many threes Sam Hauser made for the Celtics this year and helped them win an NBA championship. Let's give back to Sam Hauser while we can. All right, let's hop into my overall analysis here. Hauser has proved himself to be a very important role player for the Boston Celtics coming off the bench. Maybe not so much in round 2 and 3 of the playoffs, but definitely in round 1 and the finals. He locked up Luka Doncic. I don't care what Coop says. And he also came in and made some really important three-pointers when it was necessary. But the C's had to take care of big players first, naturally. If they extended Sam Hauser first, I would have been a little bit worried. I'm going to be honest. But now Brad Stevens is reassuring, this is right after the NBA Finals, that they do want Sam Hauser around for as long as they possibly can. Brad Stevens saying after they won the chip, everybody on our roster we love having here. We'll continue to work on filling out our roster for the upcoming season, but there's no doubt that we'll really value continuity of that. We want Hauser to be here for a long time. Well, thank God, Brad Stevens, because I want Sam Hauser to be here for a long time. I love a good catch-and-shoot player. I think he's definitely one of the best in the NBA, just from what he's shown me this last year with the Boston Celtics. He flows really well with the Celtics offense, and when Sam Hauser does go in, pending the missed threes, I don't see any negatives when he's on that court. I love his defensive game. I think he's really stepped that up, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the Celtics this year. And he will be playing for the Celtics this year despite a contract extension because they did pick up his team option for 2024-25. But The Athletic had something to say here about Sam Hauser and the expenses that the Celtics do have this upcoming year, saying one possible cap shenanigan would be to decline Hauser's team option for 2024-25, which they ended up not doing, so that's off the table. But they could re-sign him for lower money and more years than an extension that started in 25-26. But this is what the Celtics did not want to do. They didn't want to increase the Celtics' tax penalty in 2024-25, but lessen the impact overall. So when you look at the overall analysis of Sam Hauser and now the Celtics' very, very expensive payroll, the Celtics obviously want Hauser around for many years. But it's not as simple as that. They probably want LeBron James too and Steph Curry, but they can't afford them. So they have to make sure that their priorities are taken care of, which is right now selling the Boston Celtics and getting their ducks in a row before they keep adding on this luxury tax bill and then saying, hey, you want to buy the Celtics? Well, you got to pay this tax bill at the end of this season. So I think that put him on the back burner for a little bit, but I do see Hauser being extended for up to 4 years. I could see the Celtics going the full-blown extension, giving him 4 years for $75, $78 million. It may be a lot, but I do think Sam Hauser could be a very important role player for the Celtics. If not, maybe give him a 2-year deal for less money and see where you guys are at in your tax penalty, in your payroll, moving forward to win more championships. But last thing I'm going to ask you guys is play GM for me right now. Play Brad Stevens, although it's very hard. He is absolutely a genius. How much would you offer Sam Hauser in an extension? How many years and how much would you put on his salary? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. As always, if the Celtics make a move, we make a video. If you guys want to be up to date on the latest Boston Celtics news and rumors, this is the place for you. And it's completely free, so go on ahead and subscribe.